Biofuels 2, so we looked at how ethanol can be produced from the fermentation and distillation of sugars produced by certain crops like sugar beet and sugar cane. There are other crops that can produce other fuels. Different fuels have different combustion properties. Diesel, the fraction from the fractionating column, is combusted in a diesel engine. So you need to have a fuel that is similar to diesel in order to combust in the same way in a diesel engine. So it needs to have the same kind of volatility and flammability. We can't use bioethanol for that. You can't even use petrol for that, as you may know that if you put the incorrect fuel in a car, the car engine won't work. So biodiesel is a biologically produced version of diesel. It's a fuel that will combust virtually identically to diesel, but it's not produced from crude oil. So again, how does this biofuel start? First of all, we grow a crop, and the crop that we grow could be sunflower seeds. Sorry, you don't grow the seeds, but it could be sunflower. You can grow some sunflowers, you could grow some olives, you could grow rape as well. So there are lots and lots of oil producing plants. Could be sunflowers, could be rape, could be whatever. Those plants, while they are alive, the process that they conduct, photosynthesis, whereby they take in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and they react it with water to make glucose, and they spit out a little bit of oxygen as well. Now, this glucose, you will know from GCSE biology that some of the glucose that isn't respired by the plant can be converted into oils. Okay, the process is far too complicated for us to worry about here, and we don't need to worry about it, but we end up with triglycerides. Triglycerides have I spelled that wrong. Triglycerides. Right. So triglycerides, they have basically got 3 fatty acid chains stuck together, bonded to something called glycerol, as they call it in biology. So it's this large oil compound. Now this oil compound, which is a triglyceride, it's got 3 fatty acid chains. Each one of those fatty acid chains could be useful and could combust like diesel. So what we do, we human beings will harvest the oils, and then we end up with our crude. We end up with our crude sunflower oil. Oh dear, pardon me for the noise. It's our crude vegetable oil. So it's our crude sunflower oil or olive oil or whatever. We then go and process that in a process called transesterification, where basically we end up separating these 3 little fatty acid chains from the glycerol. The glycerol can go off and be used somewhere else, but we have basically separated the fatty acids. They're actually fatty acid methyl esters, shortened to FAME. Now FAME, these fatty acid methyl esters, they're basically carbon chains that are approximately the same length as diesel. Therefore they have the same volatility, flammability as diesel. We can then combust these fatty acid methyl esters in our engine, and just in the same way as we would with diesel. So let's just say that the fatty acid all the carbon atoms in each molecule has come from the glucose that was produced from photosynthesis. So all the carbons in each molecule originally came from the air, CO2 in the air, only a few months ago. So when we combust the flame, we're just putting that carbon dioxide back in the atmosphere. Therefore, we can say that biodiesel is carbon neutral. It's basically the same principle as bioethanol. We just don't have fermentation and distillation. We have some other processes to make a product like diesel that we can burn in a diesel engine. We have the same problems, such as weather dependent, takes up lots of land, competes with food production, etc., etc.